Hey, welcome back. This is going to be about step number 5 in design thinking, called test. The intention of this 5th and final step is to actually see whether we have problem-solution fit. Whether the idea that we came up with, the prototype that we built, is something that our customer will consider as valuable to them and something that can solve the problem that they're facing or the need that they have. So when we want to run these tests, it's very important that we actually run these tests with customers. If we run these tests with ourselves and we're not the customers, but we assume that we are, we will probably be too positive about whatever we have built, about the prototypes. If we run these with our internal stakeholders, we might be too positive, and that would be a false problem-solution fit. So first and foremost, after you've built a prototype, consider with whom you want to test this. Based on the feedback that we get during testing, we might either have to refine our idea and thus our prototype, or we might realize that the idea, although it initially sounded very promising, is actually not going to work. And in that case, we have to pivot. We move from one idea to another idea. And this is where we have a clear cycle between ideate, prototype, and test. So we move again to ideate, we look at the next idea that we have came up with, or based on the prototype and the testing we've done, we might come up with new ideas, and then we build prototypes for that to test it again. With step 3, 4, and 5, ideate, prototype, and test, and the circle or feedback cycle they create, we actually see empirical process control at play. And it's only empirical process control if we connect those things to each other. If we learn from the results, from the feedback that we received during the test. If we refine and maybe pivot our idea. In some rare cases, we might realize that whatever idea we come up with, that those ideas are not going to work. Either because we actually don't get problem-solution fit, or because the solution will be too costly, too complex for us to implement to address a certain problem. And in those rare cases, it's great to identify that before we actually start building the product, let alone at the very end of delivering a product to our customers. So design thinking not only helps us come up with better ideas and get to problem-solution fit, it also helps us to cut our costs early if the endeavor is going nowhere. In the next videos, I will share some case studies of products that we've worked on using design thinking so that you can transfer the learnings from theory much better into your daily practice. I'll see you there.